David, thank you for letting us into your home. You purchased this property in December.
Yes.
And we are in La Quinta Cove. This is your second property here in La Quinta Cove.
It
you do
is.
vacation short-term rentals.
That's what I've been doing here lately, yes.
Okay, and you've been doing this here in the valley for 5 years?
No, here in the valley, it's only been about 2 years.
Okay,
But I had some experience in other places
okay,
doing it for about 5 years.
okay. And here you have one in Palm Springs.
Yes, that was my first one in the Coachella Valley. And it's a beautiful property. And your firm helped me acquire that property.
Yes.
It's been doing very well.
Yes, and then you purchased your second one here in La Quinta Cove.
I did.
And then when you were looking for the
Yeah, we did.
We got on George's big truck and
Yeah, George has a beautiful four-wheel drive truck, and we had a fun day.
we did.
But the reason for that was because we're learning that Joshua Tree is a pretty high demand area for short-term rentals, so we were keeping that as a possibility.
Okay.
But as it turned out, the lender that I was working with wasn't as comfortable with Joshua Tree
Okay.
as they were with La Quinta. So that's how this property came to be,
Okay.
because it was sort of controlled somewhat by my lender.
Okay.
Yes.
I see. Well, how many bookings have you had since? Or you said you have already around 13?
On this house here?
Yes.
On this house here, we have 13 or 14 bookings between February and May.
February, May.
Yes.
Wow. 13. Okay. Now you were saying there's a difference between Palm Springs and La Quinta.
Yeah, there's a number of differences. One difference is the price of the property. Generally speaking, the Palm Springs house is going to be about double the cost
Okay.
of what we're seeing currently in the La Quinta Cove
Okay.
for the same stuff. Say a generic 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, 1,200 to 1,500 or 1,800 square feet with a pool and or spa can still be had in the La Quinta Cove for around $350,000 to $375,000. That same similar home in Palm Springs, if you want something good in a decent neighborhood, you're probably around at least $550,000.
Wow.
Probably more like $600,000 to $650,000
Okay.
for a comparable home. Also, the homes tend to be older in Palm Springs because it was developed earlier.
Right.
A lot of the homes in the La Quinta Cove are newer. Not all of them, but there are a lot of 2000 vintage
Right.
homes. Like this home, for example, I think was built in 2004, so it's just not that old.
Yeah.
Whereas the Palm Springs home was built in 1970, which is not that long ago, but there's a lot of older homes in Palm
Right.
Springs. And then the other thing is, I guess to sort of compensate for the higher cost of the Palm Springs homes, they tend to generate more income as a vacation rental than La Quinta. Now that may change, but that's kind of how it is now. It's almost double the revenue.
Okay.
So that may justify the cost if it's
Right.
within budget of
Okay.
what you're looking for.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I have a few questions here from people that are listening to us, and I'm just going to ask you a few and then you can answer.
Happy to do it.
Why is La Quinta Cove good for vacation rentals?
The La Quinta Cove is a very good place for vacation rentals for a couple of reasons. Probably one of the first reasons is the local government, the city of La Quinta, is vacation rental friendly, and their ordinance or their laws regarding how you get your permit and what hoops you need to jump through are reasonable, in my opinion, compared to other cities. Palm Springs, for example, is much more strict on their rules.
Right.
Secondly, because you have access to Old Town La Quinta and many of the fun amenities, and you've got the Coachella Fest, the Stagecoach Fest over here in Indio is very close to La Quinta. And for those of folks that may not be as familiar with the valley, and what I've learned is it's a big valley. So going from Palm Springs to Coachella Fest could be a 45-minute ride,
Right.
whereas from La Quinta Cove it's probably 15 minutes, plus or minus, depending upon where your house is. So those are some of the variables. There's a lot of activities in La Quinta. It's a very well-to-do community. The Kardashians bought a house here, presidents of the United States.
Right.
and former purchase homes here. The city is very well budgeted. They have a lot of money. The city provide a lot of fun activities. There's golf, of course, and tennis. Pickleball is becoming a new rage with people. There's museums, there's hiking, there's biking. There's just so many fun things to do in and around, La Quinta.
In very close proximity. Okay. Tell us, from your expertise already, what makes a good vacation rental?
Well, one of the things that I look for when I'm looking for a vacation rental, obviously, is you need friendly rules from the city. So, and also I should back up, because some people would want to buy a condominium, and that's fine. But if you're going to buy a condominium, you really have two hoops to jump through. One is you have to make sure that your homeowners association will allow you to do it, and then you need to make sure your city will allow you to do it.
Right.
So it's a double step. Whereas with a single family home, you only have to deal with the local jurisdiction. So what I do is, any city that I'm interested in for a short-term rental, I just Google ABC City short-term rental ordinance. And that brings up two bits of information. One usually is if they have an ordinance, you can read it and everything that you need to do, and whether you're willing to do that or able to do that. And secondly, if there's things in the media, the newspaper articles, if there's a lot of drama going on, because STRs can be short-term rental, STRs can be a hot button, then you'll read about those too. So before you wade in and make a bet with your money and buy a house, and if you want to do a short-term rental, you want to check that first. Once you get the green light on that, then it's just about your budget and what you're looking for. I mean, for me, I was talking to Robert earlier about this. Smaller is better. I mean, I think 12 to 1,500 feet is up to 1,800 feet is kind of the sweet spot. 3-bedroom, 2-bath. You've got to have a pool. That's a must. If you can get the built-in spa, that's also good.
Okay.
But you can always add a hot tub for the right property.
Okay.
If I wouldn't say no, don't buy a house because it doesn't have a built-in hot tub. But those are some of the things I look for.
Okay.
Also, very important. Obviously, location. We all know location. But views are very important. So and I tell people that ask me this, I say, fight for your views. Wow. Pay an extra $50,000 or maybe even another extra $100,000 for tremendous views, because that is A, going to get you more bookings, and B, it's going to be better on resale when you go to sell your property.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I say, try to keep an open mind about this. You don't necessarily have to make your first real estate purchase your house. Maybe look outside your comfort zone. Maybe come down to Quinta. Maybe come out to Tennessee, where I also have property. Look at some other jurisdictions. Look in Arizona. Look in. There's the power of the internet. That's one of the most amazing things. Number one, because it's easier to search and find great investment property, whether that's a short-term rental or a long-term rental, or your home, what have you. But also in terms of managing your property. It used to be in the day that you had to have a property manager. If you bought, say, 50 or 100 miles away, in the old days, when I first started buying property in the 80s, when I was making all the mistakes that I made for many years, you had to have a property manager because there was no internet and you didn't have what I call boots on the ground. Yeah. You got to have your boots on the ground, and if it's a short-term rental, that means your house cleaner and someone like Jeff, a handyman. If you've got those two things and you take care of your people, they're going to take care of you, and you're going to make a lot of money if you buy the right property. And you can do it from thousands. You could be in China, you could be in Africa, and operate a vacation rental home in La Quinta, or in Tennessee, or in Arizona, or wherever you can do this legally. Yeah. So that's what I look for.
Okay. Yeah, that's what we just want to have them. This is like their motivation. Like, get out there and just do it. Look for the right property. That's the most important thing, right?
Yeah, the right property is clutch. Okay. And so a good example, we were talking earlier about he's my relative, my first cousin's son, who's a young attorney, lives in Los Angeles.
You said it took a while to make that jump.
Yeah, it took him a little while to make that jump. He's a newlywed. They have no children. I think they have a dog as their baby. So they were able to, I think with the help of their parents, buy their first condo in the Los Angeles area. So they did that. But now, not long after, last time I was here, it might have been in the summer, towards the end of summer, they reached out to me and they said, hey, we hear you're doing this, kind of what you're asking.
Yeah.
We're interested in this. How do we do it? How do you do it? I said, come over here when you can. And they caught me on the last day before I was going to the airport to go back to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
We sat down for coffee and we talked for about a half hour. And I told them a lot of things I told you and more. And next thing I knew, they were working with George and Lisa in your office, and they were buying a property in the Cove. And now they're taking off with it and doing well. So it's furnished and decorated, and they have the bookings. And now they're close to Los Angeles.
Right.
It's really close for them. They can come out and enjoy it when they want.
Uh-huh.
That's one of the neat things about it is you can use your own property when you want to. You control that calendar. So also, it's important, I think, to find a place where you like to hang out.
Mm-hmm.
Where do I want to go when I'm on vacation? Mm-hmm. So if you like the amenities of a certain community, and also if other people like it and it's high demand and it's growing, like this community is, this whole valley is booming. And if the STR rules are friendly, that is a good target market for this.
I think the mayor in the city, they've been doing a really good job.
Who's this?
The local government here in Lincoln.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're still on the record here, but I don't mind saying that they're actually doing a outreach program right now where they've asked people in the community if they want to be on basically a task force, if you will, concerning short-term rentals. Well, I filled out my paperwork and I sent it in because I've had some experience in local government. When I was in El Dorado Hills, I was on what was effectively the city council government. We're not an incorporated city formally in El Dorado Hills, so we're kind of like an unincorporated town of El Dorado County. But we have what's called a community services district, which functions as the city council. So it's an elected position. There are 5 board members. I was one of the board members for about 4 years. Did that. We ran the local government. We did, everything that we were appointed to do, which included Parks and Recreation, cable TV, garbage service, and a few other things. Oh, CC&R enforcement. That's actually how I got involved, because through my law practice was originally I got involved in the local government, getting onto a task force, and then I ended up being on the CSD, effectively the city council. So, and also when I had my first STR was in San Francisco, and I ended up being on, that was in a condominium. So I ended up being on the Homeowners Association board. They invited me. They said, you're a lawyer, we want you. I'm all, oh, I don't want to be on the board. So anyway, they dragged me in, and I did it anyway. I ended up being the president of the board for the Homeowners Association. And even then, even being on the board, being the president of the Homeowners Association, there's a lot of politics and drama concerning short-term rentals. It was a 31-unit building in Nob Hill. Some of the people don't want it. Some people like it. Some people want to do it. So it's kind of like a tug of war in that regard. But so I want to get involved here in La Quinta as well. And have some impact. The cool thing is that they said that you don't have to live here to qualify for the task force. Because technically I live in Tennessee. So, but they do want you to attend the meetings. They'll have monthly meetings. I'm hoping, and the city council are going to call us in at some point and have interviews and decide who they want. So I may or may not get selected, I don't know, but hopefully I can be on there and lend whatever experience I can share with them. And, I think they've got a really good program. I like their rules. I think they're very reasonable. Let me give you an example of what I mean reasonable. In Palm Springs, your guests cannot play music outside in the backyard. 0, none. Which some people have complained about. And I said, you know what, to these guests, I said, I agree with you. The rules are very strict. Come to one of the houses, rent one of the houses in La Quinta. They don't have that rule. Their rules are, hey, look, we have quiet hours. Turn your music off after 9 p.m. and don't turn it on until 9 a.m. Reason, because we got neighbors, and you got to respect the community. With a lot of people, husbands and wives raising their children, kids going to school. You can't come in here and have a rager of a party. That's not going to be allowed. And so we've been lucky. I've never really had anything significant that was broken or taken. people are basically pretty respectful on the website. It's kind of like a club, and you're all grading each other.
Yeah.
And who wants to get voted off the island? If you do one screw off thing, you're going to get fired.
Yeah.
And you won't be able to be involved anymore. So I think a lot of people respect that. I mean, I had like maybe a mirror that was broken once. I had a mirror that was on the floor in one of my houses in Tennessee, and my door, this house was built in 1860, so the doors do swing open and they're big heavy doors. But I had a leather swivel chair that would prevent that, but they apparently moved it, and so the mirror broke. So it was like a $200 thing. I didn't have to replace it, but I did anyway because I wanted to. But that was the worst expense that I ever had as far as damage.
Okay.
And then another time I had like a cute little leather-bound book. It was a book of quotes of Thomas Edison and Henry Ford. And it was like a $35 book, you know, but somebody took a liking to it.
Oh.
And it ended up in their suitcase or their backpack. So they didn't think I would notice because I got a lot of books in that house. And so I noticed. I didn't say anything. I didn't complain. I just bought the book again, which was hard to find. And then I kind of tucked it away in a safe little place where hopefully no one will take it. So, and then one other thing. I had like a little hourglass, you know, with the sand.
Yeah.
Like $8 at Marshall's or something. Probably a little kid was, you know, it broke.
Okay.
So those are the worst things that ever happened.
Okay. Wow.
So I've had almost 1,500 nights of guests in 5 years in, I'm going to say, 7 properties in 6 different cities in 2 different states. So we're starting to get more experience now with it. I made a lot of mistakes at the beginning. Like I didn't know I needed to have hangers in the closet. I didn't know that I needed to have a garbage pail in the kitchen. I'm a man, so you know, for me it's like it's a Rayleigh's paper bag from the grocery store. You know, I'm shooting baskets. You know, so but certain things you gotta have, and a blow dryer. Some girls say they want a curling iron. I haven't gotten that far, but I think a blow dryer is good. You gotta have an ironing board and an iron for guests, business travelers. I try to get 500 count cotton sheets. Sometimes I'll go 700 count cotton sheets because I like people to be comfortable. I pretty much always buy the same mattresses, the same mattress topper. It's kind of like the McDonald's. Once you figure out the stuff that works, you stick with, because then you re-click.
Yeah, that's what you're going to put into your...
I don't want to shop all over again and go, oh God, I'm going to reinvent the wheel. If it works, stick with it and keep doing those things. When it comes to decor...
that was my next question. You read my mind.
Yeah, decor, I started out doing a little bit of my own. I mean, the first place was in San Francisco. It was only 500 square feet. But the beauty of that place, and my realtor in San Francisco showed me 10 different properties when I was shopping there. My budget was 500, which doesn't go very far, as you might imagine, in San Francisco. So there were only 2 out of the 10 that had any views, and this one had the best view by far. It was in Nob Hill, 500 square foot studio, but also it had a little 200 square foot patio on the back of it. As you probably know, in San Francisco, they have a lot of like what they call roof decks, where it's a community. Anyone can go up there and barbecue and hang out, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's a community roof deck. This wasn't that. This was exclusive use. So, and from that patio was Coit Tower, the Bay Bridge, which lit up every night, the Financial District, the Transamerica Pyramid, and the brand new Salesforce Tower, which is the second tallest building west of the Mississippi.
Wow.
And every night you get an amazing light show. When the Giants are in the playoffs, Coit Tower is orange. When the Dubs are going, it's blue. When it's the 49ers, it's red. When it's gay day, sorry, no offense, LGBTQ friendly, all the way with all this. I have a lot of really cool people, friends. My realtor in San Francisco is gay, and this doesn't bother me at all. But I call it gay day. Hopefully nobody takes offense to that. Coit Tower is pink.
Nice.
So it's just really, really cool stuff. But so as far as the decor, I originally started using an interior designer and had a super great relationship with her. The problem is she's out near Nashville. So I did bring her out to San Francisco. I was trying to get her, at that time we were trying to remodel the common areas. Because our building had not been renovated since the 1970s and it was really awful. So while I was renovating the inside of my condo, the common areas were really gross. So I brought her out and her husband, and I just let them stay in my place. I was somewhere else. And, but it's hard logistically because number one, it's far for her. Number two, she doesn't have the contacts with the vendors, with the furniture people.
Yeah.
So I ended up, like this place here I did on my own. I actually interviewed 3 designers, decided not to hire them. Part of the problem was it was the holidays and people were getting a little kind of flaky and unavailable. And I'm like, you know what? I got to bang this out.
Yeah.
So I probably did the furniture shopping in 2 days.
Wow.
But I add stuff, like little things as I go.
Yeah.
But most of this stuff I got like in 1 or 2 days.
This is nice.
And you just kind of go with instinct, colors and design, and I go for the wow factor, like with some of these lights, I mean, this could, you wouldn't know, nobody would know. I mean, this could be $10,000 or $25,000, but it was like $900. You know, the one in the kitchen, that was probably, all told, including the installation, was probably another $1,000. That one over there was probably, including installation, probably $750, $800. But I like A, for the pictures that you post, and B, for the resale value.
Yeah.
So you're working both sides of the fence. And it's super important. It's like the wow factor in your pictures on the website is just like a cash register. So you have to impress people with your pictures.
Okay.
Because when they click, you make money.
Do you have a professional photographer that comes in here, or do you take
I did.
pictures?
As a matter of fact, I did. I had a young man that came over here. On my other house in McKinta, I had actually a buddy of mine from Nashville,
Okay.
close friend of mine. I brought him out, and he photographed that place. He did an excellent job. But this one here, I'm not going to give you the guy's name if you want to afterwards. Did a great job photographing this house.
Yeah, it's a small investment that's going to pay off.
It's like $300.
Yeah.
And you're going to make tens of thousands of dollars. So don't skimp on your pictures.
Yeah.
And spend a little extra on your furniture and decor. I mean, don't go crazy, but go for the wow factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Combining. You can have something simple that didn't cost you anything, and then like a lot of money, and then you have this like big wow factor that balances
Yes.
it out. Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So if ever you get in, like if you do this, and if you start doing more than one, and if, you know, God forbid, your regular business revenue starts to turn down, or you have some slow times, and you need to unload one of your properties, you want it to be one of the nicest properties
Yeah.
in the neighborhood. Not the biggest house. It could be the smallest house. I'm not talking about size. I'm talking about when people come in, they go, oh my God, I love this house.
Yeah.
I want to buy it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pay top dollar for this. So that you have the ability to, it's your, what's the word for that? Not escape route. It's your exit strategy. It's your exit strategy. Excuse me for a second. I don't know who's ringing the door.